If I ask you what the worst contract in all of MLB is in history, I know somebody pops into your mind. I'm going to give you my top 10, and this all came on because Munetaka Murakami, 25 years old, just signed a 2-year deal with the White Sox for $34 million, which is a very safe bet on this guy. If he pans out, great. If he doesn't, you didn't lose a ton of money. I like it. I think that's what most contracts should be. But this started making me think about all the bad contracts in the MLB. I'm going to give you my top 10 starting right after the intro music for the Hold My Ball podcast. Thanks for being here. This will be a fun one. All right, so Munetaka Murakami. This dude, you know I'm a Dodger guy, so I'm going to throw this out there, and then I won't talk about the Dodgers the rest of this time, I promise you. I'm just saying, I heard this. I can't take credit for doing this kind of research, but I heard this, and I think it's awesome. 25 years old. He'll be 27 when his contract with the White Sox is up. It's for 2 years, $34 million. The whole league is going to get to see if this guy's the real deal or not. A lot of questions around him. People are wondering, is he going to be good? This rumor about him not being able to hit a fastball above 93 came out, and I feel like really stuck with some people. But just a very hyped guy that didn't get signed until late, and of all people, the White Sox nobody saw this coming. And I really like it, but I think it's a safe contract. And here's the connection to the Dodgers. He's going to play 2 years for Chicago White Sox. He's a third base, first base, and a hitter. I think he's a lefty. I don't even know, to be honest with you. But there's a lefty on the Dodgers that has 2 years left on his contract, and this guy's not going to play after 2 years. You could just tell by the way he plays this game and also the way he loves his family. Freddie Freeman retires in 2 years. And what do you know? Murakami is going to be a free agent in 2 years. And the Dodgers are notorious for a guy like this. If he kind of does what people think he's going to do, they're notorious for having a dude like this in their lineup every year that hits some tanks, strikes out a lot, not phenomenal, but takes care of business. You know what I mean? Like, this to me looks like a Max Muncy type of guy. And I'm going to give Muncy way more credit than I'm going to give this Murakami guy, because Muncy's the friggin' man, and I love him, and he's a utility guy, and he can do it all, and he can do it all well. I'm not trying to downplay anything Muncy's done. Muncy's a huge piece of the Dodgers' success, and I love him as a baseball player. But when I see this guy, Murakami, there's a little comparisons. But like I said, the Dodgers always have a guy like this in their lineup. This year it was like Teoscar, 247 average, 134 Ks. His on base was 284, 40 points higher than his batting average. 738 OPS, 25 jacks. I mean, this is a guy. He was a right fielder. Who's to say your first baseman can't be that, and it'll still work with the Dodgers because they have such a good team. So we'll see what happens. But this led me to remember like all the bad long-term contracts or all the bad contracts in general in baseball. And I'm going to give you my top 10 starting at number 10. And some of these names I hate to even say because I love these guys. And almost all of these guys got big contracts for a reason. They had a moment. They had their moment where they were the best in the game. And then they signed a big old contract and said, right on, thanks. I'm done being good at baseball, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. I told you this hurts me. Number 10 hurts me to even say Mr. Albert Pujols and the Angels. 10-year, $240 million deal from 2012 to 2021. In those 10 years, this is crazy. In those 10 years, he brought 12.5 WAR to the Angels. And I'm not a big WAR guy, but for this like contract comparison type thing, it makes a lot of sense to look at WAR and just go, well, how many extra wins did you bring to the team above a replacement that wouldn't be making a ton of money? And I think it's crazy. Some of these numbers are crazy. So 2012 to 2021 for the Angels, he brings 12.5 WAR in 10 years to the Angels. For comparison, he played 12 years with the Cardinals before he got to the Angels for 10 years. 12 years with the Cardinals. In 12 years with the Cardinals, 88.7 WAR. 88.7 for Pujols in 12 years with the Cards. He goes the next 10 years with the Angels and gets 12.5. About a game a year. One and a half games a year. Wins above replacement. That's just crazy. But that's the thing these guys got to realize. The difference here is that St. Louis had him from age 21 to 31. The Angels had him 32-42. What do you expect the guy to do like this? He was running. I mean, he immediately turned into like the slowest guy on the league that didn't do anything, really. I mean, he was always good. Pujols is always good. But for this contract, $240 million to bring 12.5 WAR over 10 years, tough. He did homer at a similar rate, though. That's for sure. He homered at I think he hit like 220 with the Angels. Ended up with, 700 in his career? So maybe not a similar rate. Whatever. Anyways, terrible contract. Worked out real bad for the Angels. That's just the way things go for them. As you will see as this list grows. Number 9, guess who? My favorite player of all time, and probably a lot of people's, Mr. Josh Hamilton. Angels, what do you know? 5 years, $125 million. 5 years, $125 million. You know how much, you know what his WAR was in those years? 2.5, 2.5. I think they gave him over to the Texas Rangers at some point anyways. He ended up playing a couple years for the Angels, and then they're like, yeah, all right, why don't you go back to Texas where you had some fun or whatever happened. But, I mean, tough. To put that into perspective, he played for 9 years. He had 28. His WAR was 28 over 9 years. 2.5 of them. The Angels paid him for 2.5 of those WARs. They paid him $125 million. And this is just such a dumb... The Pujols was dumb because he was old, and you knew it. 32 to 42 is not... It can't go well with a guy like him. It just can't be really good. When you look at his years from 21 to 31, of course, but that back end is so tough, especially when a guy's been in the league that long. It's not just 10 years older. It's 10 years of big league taxing your body. I mean, you might as well be 41 when you're signing the contract at 31. And Josh Hamilton, not a good signing because there's so much money to put into a guy like this with the risk that he's going to relapse, that he's going to go back into what he did that got him here in the first place. Obviously, a horribly sad story. The guy was the man, struggled with addiction, and eventually it was the demise of his MLB career. But, man, putting $125 million into a Josh Hamilton and putting him in L.A., Anaheim area, not smart. Not smart, Angels. Not smart. Number 8 on my list, Yoenis Cespedes, Mets, 4 years, $110 million, where he produced 2.2 WAR. And over that time, he played in 189 games. Over half of those games, he played in 2017, which was the first year with the team. This was an extension. So he played 189 games over 4 years and $110 million, where he brought 2.2 WAR. I mean, when you're paying guys like this, you just look at it and go, what the God dang it, dude. How pissed are you as an owner? And it's all a gamble. But at least this was 4 years, not 10, not 8. These short contracts you can live with, but that doesn't mean they're not a terrible investment in hindsight. And it's a guessing game. It's a gamble. I'm not saying these guys made bad decisions. I'm just saying it turned out to be real bad. Number 7, this is kind of crazy because my top 4 are Angels, Mets. Mets, David Wright, 8 years. This one's a tough pill to swallow. 8 years, $138 million. He brought him a 2.6 WAR. He played in 134 games in 2014. This was signed in 2014. So 8 years, 14 through 22. An 8-year contract, 2014 through 2022. Listen to this. In 2014, he played 134 games. And then he went on to play 77 games after that due to spinal stenosis, I believe. That sucks, man. It just sucks to see guys get injuries that you can't do anything about. It's a friggin' bummer. But sheesh, man. 138 million, 2.6 WAR. I mean, if you divide that into it, let's start dividing these numbers. I'm going to do it in my head, so it's not going to be perfect. Let's just go 2. Let's do it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. Nah, we're going to make this easy. 2 WAR and $140 million contract. That's $70 million per win above your replacement. Wow, that's crazy. I do love that they kept him, though. He's their guy. I wish they would have done that with Pete Alonso just now, but they didn't. Maybe that's what they're looking at. Maybe they see Pete Alonso as David Wright and go, nah, been down that road. Never again. Okay, we're at number 6. This one is ongoing, and I do a lot of this by war because I think it's this kind of how I built this list of whatever. Anthony Rendon, he's at 6, but he should be at 1 by the time this thing's said and done, because this is just the most brutal thing. I don't even have to talk much about him. Everybody knows. 7 years, $245 million contract. 7 years, $245, and that was years ago. I don't know even when he signed. I think he was like a World Series hero in 2019, was it maybe? I think it was 2019 when they won. He was the man. And it looked like a breakout season for a guy who was like kind of underappreciated a little bit. And it looked like he finally arrived, and he freaking got paid by guess who? The Angels. I mean, these poor guys. And since 2020, when he signed with the Angels, to 2025 season over, 5 full seasons, he's played 257 games. 257 games, which is a season and a half, maybe. It's like 1.5 seasons. And he doesn't care. The problem with him is he doesn't even care about baseball. He just makes it clear he doesn't help his own case in this. In my opinion, by the time it's all said and done, if I was an owner, that would be my worst contract I ever signed. Forget the play, forget all that. Just the guy in general, the way it all is going down currently, I'd be most pissed about that one. Number 5. This is crazy because this is Hall of Famer. Best there ever was for a stretch. Mr. Miguel Cabrera is my number 5 with the Tigers. Very good, obviously, for a very long time. But then he signed. He signed with the Tigers. I got to see this real quick. Let me pull this up. Where am I at? I want to see his where am I real fast? Hang on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We're pulling this up. His contract real quick. Where you at, Meggie? Where are you at, buddy? All right, we got 2016 to 2023. 8 years, $248 million. 8 years, $248 to the Tigers. In that time, he gave them a 2.5 WAR with 1 season above 1. 1 season, he had an above 1 WAR, and it was pretty early. Unbelievable. Age 33 to 40. What do you guys expect, Tigers? You signed an old man, and a big old man. Like, he's big. That body's not going to hold up. That's crazy. I love Miggy Rowe, though. I love Miggy Cabrera. Best in the biz. But a terrible stretch right there from age 33 to 40. But he got paid, baby. Eric Hosmer, number 4, a Padre signing that made the list. I don't think this will be the last one with some of the current contracts they have. 8 years, $144 million, 0.9 WAR with the Padres. Everything that, like, kind of people were like, he's not a great defender, even though he's got gold gloves. Oh, he does this, he does that. Everything that there was, like, small concerns or complaints about his game, he just, like, did those things as bad as possible, like, with the Padres. All of them. He was just bad with them. And I think he'll tell you that. Ended up hitting 265 in 2020. They were like, all right, dude, see you around. Have a good one. They paid him $12.5 million this last year in 2025. That's crazy. Number 3, we're getting down to the top 3 here. Another guy, man, I love all these guys. Ryan Howard. This list, putting it together, doing some research, seeing some stuff was interesting to me. I found a list that kind of put a lot of these guys in a group. Because you don't remember this stuff really, but looking back at these greats, like all these guys are dudes for a time. Phillies 2012 to 2016, 5 years, $125 million. You ready for this? 5 years, $125 million. -5 WAR. He did tear his Achilles. That put him all downhill under other injuries, and just 96 bombs in 5 years. 96 bombs in 5 years for the Phillies once they signed him to $125 million. I mean, to put that in perspective, his previous 7 years of his career, he had 288 bombs. And then his last 5, he had 96. So obviously 19 a year is a whole lot different than hitting 288 and 7. I mean, you're looking at 40 bombs a year. Crazy. Get paid, and that's what happens. Number 1 and number 2, I might flip them. I'm going to stay where I'm at right now. Strasburg, Nationals, 7 years, $245 million. He threw 31 innings. 31 innings. That's crazy. Poor guy. Got hurt, tried. It wasn't for lack of effort, I don't think, but just done. This might be the worst one, actually. 1 and 2 might be interchangeable. I might put Strasburg at 1 because they had to pay him out the full $245 million. That's crazy work. That's absolutely crazy. 31 innings. What's 31 into 245? 8, 16, 24. So he got paid $8 million an inning, and none of them were important innings. This is another guy, 2019 World Series Heroes. And then boom. Unbelievable. 7 years, $245 million. He threw 31 innings of his 7 years and just said, I'm out, I'm done, I'm injured, see ya. Crazy. And you guys let me know on this. Here's my number 1. And again, I feel like after speaking Strasburg's contract, it has to just be the worst. But the fact that this guy here played, I think just from a player's perspective, like, it's one thing to be Strasburg and sign and get injured, and you play 31 innings, you pitch, and you're done. But this guy continued to play, and it was so bad. Chris Davis, Orioles, 7 years, $161 million. This guy hit bombs like you would not believe. The second he signed this contract, 7 years, $161 million, negative 3.4 WAR. He's most famous for going 62 straight plate appearances without getting a hit. 62 without getting a hit. 62 times a guy that's making, what's 7 into 16? 3, 2.5, $25 million a year. $27 million a year. This guy walked up to the plate 62 straight times and couldn't get a hit. Absolutely insane. I remember when he got his hit. Biggest breath of fresh air released. He praised the Lord. Crazy the way baseball works. Guys, listen, I think baseball is going to circle back to this. Shorter contracts. I'd rather pay a guy a bunch of money for 4 years, 3 years, and then just see what happens versus any long-term deal. I think it's the dumbest thing you can do, especially in a sport like baseball. Long-term contracts, do away with them, MLB. Just get rid of them. I know these guys want job security. I know they want financial security, but shit, if you can't make 4 years and $160 million financial security, then you got your own issues, guys. The years aren't the issue. It's the way you're spending $100+ million. That is security. So I would love to see baseball go back, and I think that's what it's going to do. And I think that's what this Munetaka Murakami is. Like, hey, man, prove it, and then we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Continue to prove it. As you get older, you're 32, we'll give you 2 years to prove it, and if you do, maybe we'll give you another 2 and another 2. What are we signing anybody for 10+ years for? Absolutely insane. Next guy on the list is going to get paid is supposed to be Kyle Tucker. We'll see. I don't think I'd pay him a ton of money. I just wouldn't. I like Belly for a couple years and a good chunk of money. But the last guy that I would pay, and last as in I would pay this guy, and then that would probably be it for me as far as looking at what's out there right now, I'm paying Tarek Skubal an ungodly amount for a few years to just take my team and be the guy.